I'm Jamie J. Carr and this is We Built This City, where I talk to young people in the construction industry. So what is a civil engineer, Keith?
Roads, railways, bridges, foundations, groundworks. We're involved in kind of design right up to the construction stage of all them, be it in a consultancy or site engineer. You could be in an office looking at calculations and making sure that everything's okay for the project to go ahead. Or we could be right down to actually being on ground, like myself, and kind of showing the lads where to dig, what to do, and giving them like measurements and dimensions.
What made you get into civil engineering?
So when I was a young lad, I was real into construction. I always knew that I wanted to get into construction. I used to actually play with a lot of Lego when I was a kid. And then when I went to school and everything like that, I always wanted to get into something, kind of be able to be like that old lad that said, geez, I built that one, I built that road, I built there. So it's kind of, you know, for that purpose as well, and then obviously to make a few quid while doing it as well.
What's the best thing about being a civil engineer?
So the best thing about being a civil engineer is basically the challenge. Every morning when I come on, there's always something new. There's always something new to kind of get around and a new challenge that needs to be solved, and it's basically just a big puzzle.
Could anybody become a civil engineer?
Well, yeah. Anyone who knew me when I was younger, I wouldn't have been the most intelligent young lad, but it was just a lot of hard work in college and stuff like that, and once you put the work in, anyone can pretty much go and do it.
Do you have to be creative to be a civil engineer?
At the moment, not necessarily. It's a lot of problem solving. So if you're very good at problem solving, you know yourself, problem solving can be quite creative because you always have to think outside the box to be able to solve some kind of problems. But if I was more involved in the consultancy side of things, I would then have to be a little bit more creative. I'd have to maybe go back to an architect and ask them, you have to change this. So for the moment, I don't have to be too creative.
What are the benefits of being a civil engineer?
The benefits include, number one would be the money. Not at the moment now, maybe in a few years. Kind of staying active as well. Then the benefits is you can kind of go into any discipline you want. If you don't like working beside rivers, you can go and do a project with roadworks. You could work on foundations. You can be in a consultancy where it's mainly behind a computer or office space, or you could be on site as well. So there's many different things.
Keith, what's a typical day for you like?
So yeah, I'd come in, I'd start relatively early, about 7, and then I'll do all sorts of things throughout the day. So first of all, I'd speak to the project manager and get an outline of what we're to do. I'd go out, I'd speak to all the lads, and I'd kind of give them, a brief overview of what's to be done. I'd use a cable avoidance tool, or CAT scanner, and I would scan underground services, cables, ducts. I would then give them the areas to dig, and I would use a GPS and kind of give them the extents of the areas that they'd be digging in. And I'll be going back to the office, speak to the project manager, and then rinse and repeat, essentially. So
all sorts of things.
Yeah, all
You're
sorts
doing
of
it all.
stuff. Yeah.
What type of person could become a civil engineer?
I would say someone that just had to be good at problem solving. And you'd have to be confident as well, and you just have to be able to get by any challenges that may occur. And you can't really just give up. Essentially, you have to be fairly driven.
Keith, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I plan to be a senior site engineer or senior civil engineer. Hopefully doing something similar to what I'm doing now, because I do actually like being on site. I quite like being involved in the actual construction of a project. So I see myself there being a senior engineer or senior site agent or something along the lines of that.
Is it fun being a civil engineer?
Yeah, I'll be honest. Some of the lads that I meet there out on the site are just hilarious. And there's some things that that just comes out with our mouth. Then you're like, it's grand. And then we go in, we sit down, have our tea and all at the canteen, and we all just sit there and have the crack. Do you know what I mean? It's grand. It's I'm not in an office environment where everything's so strict and professional and all. It's kind of when you're in there, when you're with the lads, you get to have the crack with them, and it's good fun.
Brilliant. Is there a cliche to being a civil engineer?
That we've all got bellies and we're all growing beards and we're all on site just drinking tea all day.
Is it true?
No. Not really, no. I do like tea, a good cup of tea or coffee though, I won't lie.
What would you say to somebody who's kind of interested in being a civil engineer?
Just go for it, The college part is hard. There's a lot of maths, a lot of calculations, but once you go past the college part and you're into the actual industry, it's fun. There's a lot of problem solving, good bit of crack, and a good bit of money to be had, and a lot of progression.
How long does it take to become a civil engineer?
I went from and done 4 years in a level 7 to 2 years in a level 8. Whereas if you get enough points out of school, you can go and do the level 8 straight away,
Wow.
which is 4 years.
Wow.
So like there's different, and even if you don't get into the level 7, you can always do a level 6, level 7, level 8, and you don't even need the level 8 in some instances. You can take the level 7 cert and go and get a job with that as well, so it's handy.
Would you say being a civil engineer is a good career?
Being a civil engineer is a fantastic career. You can go and travel the world with it. There's a lot of progression. You can start off as a site engineer, a junior site engineer. You can go right up and be a project manager. And yeah, there's a good bit of money as well in it. So
I like money.
yeah.
What brings you pride every day being a civil engineer? Like,
Knowing that I am part of some kind of project, I'm involved in the construction of something that's going to be there for maybe, after I die. Do you know what I mean? It's pretty cool.
it is pretty special.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
What would you say to somebody who's like, his job sounds really cool, but I don't know if I could do it?
Just do it. It's grand. It's a cool job. The hours are grand. It's mainly Monday to Friday. A lot of problem solving, and it's very rewarding. Just do it.
What are the job prospects like?
Plenty. As soon as you finish college, you will get a job, and that's guaranteed. I can guarantee is that. When I was in my last year of college, there was a lad who came into our course and actually walked into our class and asked if any of us wanted a job in the company he works for, and got a bit of paper, put our names down, and then interviewed a few of my people in college, a few of my classmates. My classmates as well. I don't know any of them who are unemployed, and if you struggle to find something you like over here, you can always go abroad.